The Walking Dead, The Ones Who Live, Episode 5. We are nearing the end of the series. At least I think it's the end of the series. I don't know what they're going to do in it. I don't know what they're going to do yet. I hope there's another season. I think there's going to be more, but I don't know if it'll be another season. That's another question for next week, probably, after we see what happens. But Episode 5, we are nearing the end, at least, of the season, and this was an interesting episode. And I don't really know this episode is a big Jadis episode. It's her big story in this one, and it's interesting because it's mostly just been Rick and Michonne, but now we get to see a lot of Jadis this episode. But we start the episode out with something very, very interesting. So last week we ended with Rick and Michonne finally getting together. They escape from the CRM and they're off to go back to Alexandria, supposedly. So we start the episode out, and there's this mysterious person walking through the woods. It's like, okay, we kind of saw little teasers of someone in the woods. We're going to see someone mysterious next week, which is this week. And I'm thinking, all right, next, I thought last week we're going to see Jadis, and we're going to see her chasing down Rick and Michonne. That's also in the trailers of her, in a vehicle and stuff. So this was certainly unexpected. We get to see Father Gabriel. Father Gabriel makes a return to the Walking Dead universe, and that is the last character I expected to see pull the hood off there. But this is a flashback of Father Gabriel, and he looks up while he's wandering through the woods. He's about to kill some walkers, and there's some helicopters flying above him. And immediately it's like, okay, he's kind of aware, not really, but he doesn't really know what's going on, but he's seen helicopters before with Jadis, and now we're going to see what this means for him now. And it's so weird. This is the last character I expected to ever see show up on this show. It makes sense to maybe see him again once we get back to Alexandria and everyone's all there and stuff, but seeing him now with Jadis and all that stuff, it makes sense now, but in the moment, it's like, that's really weird. Really, really weird to see this character back. But hey, I like Gabriel. I don't mind him. And it's just strange that he's been alive so long. There's some characters out there that I don't mind Gabriel, but I'm just surprised he's still around. It's like Eugene. I like Eugene, but I'm just surprised he was there in the end. And it's kind of the same with Gabriel. It's just he made it. He's there. And he's still around, and now he's in this show, which is kind of cool. So we cut from that flashback to Rick and Michonne, basically all joyful, heading on their way home, finding food, just kind of chilling, relaxing, and just enjoying life a little bit again, as much as they can, of course, in this world that they're in. You got shots of Rick looking at the sketch drawing of Carl, and it's just kind of like this whole happy thing of I'm going home, baby. They come across this resort-looking hotel thing for the night. They go in there, they look around a little bit. Rick gets this necklace thing. He breaks off the name. It's like Michelle or something. He breaks it off. It's a little necklace, and he breaks it off and it says M. So it's a little necklace he's going to give Michonne later. So that's a little something they teased. It's not really that much, but they did go in there, stay the night. They cut to the next day. They're out and about, wandering, and they run into a bunch of different random people. Now, this random people group, look, I get it. We've seen this a million times in the Walking Dead shows. There's this random little groups of people out there trying to survive. But we are so far into the apocalypse now that it's actually kind of funny to me that we just stumble across a group of 3 or 4 people every now and then that are just running around out there barely surviving and killing a bunch of walkers and hardly living with anything. It's I guess it's possible that there's still people out there doing that, but they're out there scrambling and living like the apocalypse just happened a year ago, and they still haven't figured their shit out. But we are well over a decade now into the apocalypse timeline, and you got these 3 random people just running around out there doing whatever. You think either these people would be dead by now or have found somewhere to live and found somewhere to figure it out, where to live. But again, it's possible. But I just thought it was kind of funny. You just got these 3 random people that Rick and Michonne. They do save them from some walkers, but of course, in this world, people are a problem. So they immediately turn on Rick and Michonne after they offer them some food. But we know Rick and Michonne, not going to let that slide. They easily kind of knock their guns out of their hands, take them from them, and they take the food back and say, all right, well, you had your chance. And then they kind of throw their weapons to the side, their bullets to the side, and they go about their day. And they let them live. They don't kill them or anything, but they do let them live. I thought that was kind of interesting. It's just kind of like a getting back to the normal type of thing you'd see Rick and Michonne doing. Kind of like in the original show, you'd run across random people, save them, maybe help them. Maybe people who turn against you, you maybe choose whether or not to kill them or not. Just little types of little similar instances and situations that we'd see from The Walking Dead. And I think they did that on purpose just because it's like, okay, we're getting back to normal now. We're heading home. And I thought that was kind of cool. We get to see Rick and Michonne just kind of relaxing in another abandoned place again. Rick gives Michonne the necklace with the M on it. That was kind of cool. And then they relax for the night. And then we get to another trailer shot from last week for this week's episode, and there is a mysterious figure in the woods, but this time it's actually in the present storyline. So who is this? So before we get to what happens there, we are going into several different flashbacks through this episode. So we're jumping 3 years ago. 3 years ago, Gabriel is out by a stream and Jadis just walks up to him. I don't know if this has happened before and this is them reuniting again, because we had that one bit with him seeing the helicopters in the beginning of the episode, but it almost looks like he's seeing her for the first time again since she left with Rick, because we all know that Gabriel and Jadis had this weird situation with the helicopter and stuff, and she tried to almost trade him off or whatever before she left with Rick in season 9. So she had that whole weird thing with this short relationship with Gabriel, so that's kind of why he's here now in the story. They threw him in there to kind of have some dialogue with Jadis. So this is 3 years ago, well after Rick's been taken away, and we get this little reuniting scene of these two, and you get to hear Gabriel mention that Rick died. There was a situation on the bridge and he died, and it's this weird conflict with Jadis where it's like she wants to go and talk to Gabriel and kind of be have a small part and involvement in this small little life in Alexandria. It's like she almost wants that, but she also wants the bigger picture with the CRM. And that's kind of the big conflict with Jadis this episode, is like, does she want Alexandria or does she want the CRM? And it's like she wants both. She wants it all. She doesn't want just the CRM, and she doesn't just want Alexandria. She wants it all. She thinks the CRM can save the world and change the world for the better, but she also seems to have some sort of feeling for Alexandria, and she doesn't just want to kill them all like she threatened to Rick. So we cut to the present. Rick and Michonne are waking up the next day, and they get woken up by Jadis. So she was a mysterious person coming up to them in the nighttime, and she pulls 2 guns on them and tells them to tie themselves to the bed, which, I'll be honest, it's kind of funny seeing Rick have both of his arms behind his back when he doesn't have one hand. I don't know how he's tying the other hand behind him, but she has them tie their hands to the bed, and, well, Michonne has her arms tied together, and she starts to confront them about, this didn't make sense, this didn't make sense. I thought it was a little weird that your disappearance just happened after I pretty much called that you guys can do anything, and you guys would definitely try to escape. So I figured that she would go after them. It was pretty clear that she would suspect something immediately when those 2 didn't return, whether it looks like they died or not in the helicopter crash and whatnot. She's going to go after them. She's going to figure out what's going on. She mentioned the yellow truck, and she started the chase after the yellow truck. She went back later. She mentioned she went back later to the crashed building, the collapsed building, and she started to trace their trail. They had little wrappers of food and whatnot just kind of along the way as they were leaving. It's like they were very careless when they were going on about leaving. So after this little confrontation, Jadis does mention, all right, I'm gonna kill you guys, and she tries to shoot them. I don't know if she was aiming all too well, but she does try to kill them. She misses, and Rick and Michonne go into attack mode, and they have this axe that they were going to give to RJ. It's like they picked it up in the shop earlier, and they were going to maybe give it to RJ, but they have this axe now with them. Michonne picks it up and launches it into the side of Jadis, so now Jadis is wounded. So she's got a big axe cut and wound on her left side there. So that is now a situation that Jadis is dealing with, and she runs off. So we cut to another flashback 2 years ago. So we're jumping from 3 years, 2 years, 1 year ago. That's how we're going to do it here with the story with Jadis and Gabriel. So Jadis and Gabriel, they've begun to do this like yearly meeting where they meet each other at this stream or whatever, and they talk about their lives and what's really going on, it's catching up. And it always comes back to the situation of like Jadis is kind of stuck between like, does she want Alexandria or does she want the CRM? Gabriel does bring up this whole thing of like this ring that I think he found, and he was gonna maybe give it to Rick so he can give it to Michonne, because Rick was mentioning how he wanted to marry Michonne, and that was before the bridge happened, and then the bridge happened, and now he's just holding on to this ring. He's got nothing to do with it. So he does give the ring to Jadis, so now she's holding on to this ring. And that's kind of where the flashback ends. And then we cut back to the current chase. And the chase here with the cars is a little different than I imagined. I thought Jadis was going to be the one chasing after Rick and Michonne. But it's actually Rick and Michonne chasing Jadis, because she's running off now because she's hurt. And she's the one running from them now because they want to kill her. Michonne wants to kill Jadis. So Jadis is running off in the truck on the left here. Rick and Michonne are chasing her. They make her crash. She crashes and escapes. And Jadis runs across a few different people in the woods while she's wounded. And it's the people that we met before. Because, of course, the random individuals that we met before are the people that Jadis now meets. And we're left to wonder what's going to happen there. Rick and Michonne, they're talking about Jadis. Michonne really wants to kill Jadis. So they follow Jadis's blood trail and her handprints into this building, this factory or whatever. And they realize that they've been duped. That one lady from the group of three has like a hood and cloak on and is pretending to be Jadis. So they were chasing down the wrong person. And then they get ambushed by that group of three from before. So they don't last long. They get killed. But before we get to see any of that, we get a flashback of 1 year ago. So this is the last flashback of Jadis and Gabriel. So this is still a year ago, and they meet one last time. And again, it's the big conflict of like, Gabriel's enjoying the meetups, but he really wants her to go back with him. But it reaches this point where Jadis is still super conflicted, and it reaches that point where like she turns on Gabriel for a moment there. She knocks him to the ground. It's like she points her gun at him like, okay, I'm not conflicted. This is what I want. I want to be with the CRM. It's over. We're done. I can't let you live anymore. I've told you too much. And it's almost like a loose end that she mentions. So we do cut back to the present without finishing what happened with Gabriel there. Looks like she might want to kill him or not. So Jadis is there in the warehouse. That group of people that Jadis recruited, basically, they all got killed. They all died from walkers because they were new random people. They're easy to kill in the show. Jadis is now the only one they got to deal with, but she continues to bring up the threat of, you kill me, the CRM will find my dossier or my files of Alexandria, and they're going to go kill Alexandria. That's her big threat, and that's why Rick was initially worried to begin with about Jadis. So she even like steps out. Rick and Michonne, they're like shooting back and forth at each other, but then she steps out and it's like, if I die, they're going to find out about Alexandria. So she like kind of taunts them. She lets walkers run towards her. Michonne almost wants to kill Jadis, but then she kills the walkers behind her. And then we continue the standoff. And then Jadis starts to talk. He says, Rick, you were starting to become part of the CRM. You were making your way up. And she starts talking about Major General Beale and what he was seeing in Rick. And then she says, he was going to give you the echelon briefing. And this is something that Thorne mentioned earlier in the show. This is the big briefing of where the CRM basically goes over all their big plans and what they're going to do for the future. This is kind of something that was teased when Thorne mentioned to Rick earlier. It was like 2 episodes ago now that, he's going to move up. Rick is moving up now in the ranks. And Beale has sought interest in him. So this is very clearly something that Rick could possibly maybe want to go back and figure out and maybe learn the plans of the CRM. And again, I think this is going to lead to something bigger than just this show. I cannot see the CRM becoming just a one show thing of this show and then it's done. We're going to have more. We got to have more after this series. If this is a one season series specifically for like Rick and Michonne, we're going to have something else. It has to be. But we have to wait and see till after next week because I don't really know where this story is going to end exactly. But I just think we got to have a lot more with the CRM. Rick and Michonne, I don't know yet. Again, we have to see next week, but the CRM, it has to continue on. So Rick and Michonne, they're starting to like realize that like maybe this is something that would work, and we go back to the CRM. We found out the echelon briefing. So Michonne starts to talk, and it's almost like she's starting to figure out this plan of like, maybe we should go back. I can't see this ending, with us going home. And this is the bit that we saw in the trailer from last week. It's like, okay, was Michonne changing her mind for it? It seems like through the episode, she slowly started to like see things differently and change her mind a little bit. It's like maybe this is something that we should do, and maybe we should stop people from other people. It was like a sign that they saw earlier, and I think that's where this was all leading up to, is like now she's kind of almost taken Rick's point of view from before. It's like, what if we can get in there, change things a little bit, figure out what the CRM is doing, and maybe not totally take Rick's side from before, but like go in there, figure them out, and take down the CRM. Her and Jadis come up with this like weird plan. They agree to something that's like Michonne can still go, and then Rick will go with Jadis back to the CRM, and it's like this initial deal that Rick had with Jadis, and that is the initial like little thing that Jadis tries to get them to do. But after Michonne walks off to go get a med kit for Jadis turns on Rick and says, I'm just gonna kill you instead. So it was Jadis essentially just trying to have one up on them and just lie to them and turn on them one last time there. But it doesn't work out for them. We do cut back to that scene, though, with Jadis pointing the gun at Gabriel. And we get to see Gabriel, like, just saying, do it. Go ahead, do it. We don't get to see exactly what happens just yet. It's like a flashback between Jadis, Gabriel, and the present story. And we got Jadis here pointing the gun at Rick. And Michonne also figured it out. And she comes back with a weapon. One of the weapons from the two people that had their guns pointed at them earlier. She points the gun at Jadis, and it's a big standoff. And ultimately, Michonne wins, and then Jadis gets knocked down. Some walkers start biting her, and this is about to be the end of Jadis in The Walking Dead. So, two walkers get on top of Jadis. They do take out the walkers, but they're not in time, and the walkers do bite Jadis's neck. So she is going to die. She has a nice big walker bite right there on her neck, but Rick stops the walkers, lets her live for just a little bit longer because they need some information from her. They need to know where this file is, this dossier that she has for Alexandria, and they need to go back there and get it. As Jadis is now dying, we realize that she's going to die. This is the end of Jadis. We start to see little flashbacks. We got flashbacks of season 9, earlier flashbacks of like season, 7, 8 now? Like this is like the end of season 7 right here. When she was still the garbage lady, she had all of her garbage people, and she was fake helping them against the saviors. It's just like little flashbacks to Jadis because this is the end of Jadis. So we also got to see a flashback of that one chick from World Beyond. It was like Huck or something. When she killed her in the warehouse there. I don't remember exactly what happened. I think the place like blew up or something. But we also got to see little glimpses of World Beyond because that story does tie in generally to what's going on now. And then we also do cut back to the scene with Gabriel one last time, and she does save Gabriel. She kills the walker behind him, and she lets him get up. So she couldn't kill Gabriel, and she was unable to kill Rick as well, and this is it. This is the end. So she does mention to Rick and Michonne where the dossier is. She says it's in my room at the Cascadia base. So she does mention where it is. She tells them where it is. That is the big piece of information that Rick and Michonne wanted from Jadis. So she can die now, I guess. Michonne has had a change of tune now, and she starts to tell Jadis, like, yeah, okay, we're going to go back. Rick is going to go back. He's going to get the echelon briefing from the CRM. But we're going to take down the CRM. Jadis wants it to still go on and change the world. She still thinks the CRM can change the world. But Michonne's like, no. The CRM is not what's going to save this world. And we're going to go back. We're going to figure out what they're doing. And then we're going to stop them. And then she mentions that the city, she's going to try and get the city, the Civic Republic, the city part of it. It's actually kind of like separate from the CRM. The CRM is the actual military. She's going to try and get the city against the CRM and take out the CRM. That is kind of her initial plan that she's kind of making up here. And then we cut to the end of Jadis' story. So we got a little thing of her saying, this is it. This is the end of my story. I have found my way finally. And, Gabriel kind of showed me that. It's like, I couldn't kill Gabriel, and I realized that, like, okay, this is really what I kind of wanted to be, an Alexandrian maybe, but this is it. She's going to die, and one last thing that she does is give Rick that ring that Gabriel had. So she gives that to Rick, and then Rick kills Jadis because she's dying anyways, so he puts her out of her misery, and that is the end of Jadis. Jadis is gone. So the garbage lady from all the way back in season 7 of The Walking Dead. Season 7, it's one of the later seasons, but really it was a while ago now. We've had this character of Jadis around now for quite a bit, especially in that big long wait from when she took him away in the helicopter. Just as much we were wondering about Rick, we were wondering about Jadis too. Like, she was there along with him, what was going to happen with her. And this is what it was. This was her story. And she is gone. Jadis is gone. So, Rick and Michonne, they leave. Rick does a proposal to Michonne before they are going to head back to the CRM because they're going to go forward with their plan. So, this whole escape attempt from the CRM, change of plans. They're going to go back. They're going to go and try and get the file from Jadis' office. And then they're going to try and figure out what the CRM is doing and end the CRM, maybe. I don't know. We do cut to Gabriel coming back once again to meet with Jadis, but she does not show up this time. And we get to see a little rock here with an A in the center. And I think that's him leaving like a little thing. He realizes that she's probably dead now. And I think that was him leaving like a little memorial. I'm thinking he now thinks that she's gone. She's dead. She didn't come back. And Jadis is now gone to him as well. So he's lost Rosita and Jadis now. He has none of them. Kind of interesting how that is for Gabriel there. And then the last scene pans up to Rick and Michonne sending off, the flare, and you got the smoke there, and then the helicopter coming in to most likely come and get them. Bring them back to the CRM. So, that is where the episode ends. And the teaser for next week looks pretty intense. I would hope it's kind of like a little bit of a longer episode. I don't know how long it'll be. But it is the grand finale, at least for this season. I'm going to go on the assumption that this is going to be a one-season show. And then whatever we need for the CRM storyline is going to be in something else. Maybe like some big, grand series coming together with everything. Or I don't know. But I think the ones who live is generally just going to be the Rick and Michonne story here. And then we're gonna figure it all out soon. I think after the series, at least this season ends, we're gonna get a good idea of what could be possibly coming. But right now, they're heading back to the CRM, and they have a plan to learn all about them and what the military plans on doing for the future. They're gonna go get rid of the file, and I think this is just a one big setup for a bigger story with the CRM and Major General Beale, because he has hardly been around, and I think we got a lot more to go with him beyond this show, at least beyond what we've seen of him so far in this season. It's just we've hardly seen him. Jadis out of the picture. He can be the big main villain now. Next week is going to be quite important. It's going to be the tell-all of what the future of, I think, all of these shows really is going to kind of maybe look like. Because right now, I don't know what Rick Grimes is the one guy tying everything together, holding this stuff together. I think probably for a lot of people, and kind of for me too. Like, him still being out there and around this whole time has kind of kept a major interest for me and a lot of other people in the Walking Dead stuff. And I don't know how far his story is still going to go, but I hope it continues, and I hope it goes beyond next week's episode too. We're going to have to wait and see, though. But it ends, Jadis is gone, and we are headed back to the CRM.